Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Soccer Show. I'm Zdroik, joined by Jordan Cooper and Ryan Belongia. We had to push this show back a little bit because, DraftKings just doesn't really care about soccer that much. But we're here doing the show. Guys, welcome in. I don't know. When was the last time we talked? I don't know. Jordan, did we talk already after the holiday break? I can't even remember. I can't think back to 2 weeks ago. But
it's daily fantasy, Adam. The day yesterday doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't matter. I don't even remember the last slate. I don't know. I don't remember.
True. Yeah, we're starting right now with the Aston Villa Leeds matchup is just kicked off, but we got this interesting 4-gamer for Saturday, and I think it's going to be. I thought it was going to be a fun slate before I saw the prices, and then I saw the prices, and we got Gakpo at 9,500, we got Orsic at 9,200. DraftKings just doesn't know how to price in new players apparently, but here we are. Ryan, what's going on? You just said you got some Emiliano Martinez captains. What do you think about the odds for these games? Because my first thought is that Liverpool should not be the biggest favorite on the slate.
Yeah, who should be?
Well, they're not. Well, hold on a second. Liverpool are the biggest favorite, but not like this isn't a 4-game slate where it's like, oh, Liverpool's on against Brighton away. How much Liverpool can we jam in? It's like Liverpool's implied goal total is 1.76, and most of the rest of the slate is like 1.3, 1.4. I mean, I don't look at the slate and go, how do I load in Liverpool? I almost feel like in my cash lineup, I may only have one Liverpool player.
I'll just get my take out of the way. I think Nottingham Forest should be the biggest favorite on this slate.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think Liverpool are sort of just, quote, biggest favorite just by default. I mean, when you look at these matchups, I agree with Jordan. I don't love Liverpool on this spot. I actually really like this Brighton team. Love De Zerbi. I think they're even better than they were with Potter. I think he's going to be a really good manager. Yeah, one Liverpool player in cash seems about right for me too. Again, these prices just came out, just opened this slate up. I think I kind of like this slate maybe more than you guys do.
Leon Bailey already scored. Holy cow. All right, sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't think the slate is bad at all. I think the pricing is competitive. I think we got some values in here that may be in the starting lineups. I don't think the cash build is very straightforward. I think you could build a bunch of different ways, and I'd say it's reasonable. So, and then you also have you don't have anyone on the slate with like a better than 40% chance anytime goal scoring odds. So to me for GPPs, that makes, a lot more options and also a lot more value in floor points when, there's not minus 150 goal scorers. There's no team that has a 2+ implied total. I think you get away with a lot of different types of constructions for GPPs as well.
So I assume you guys both mentioned one Liverpool player in cash games. I assume that's like TAA. Okay.
I mean, who else would it be? The only other person the question that I have for Ryan maybe is that Robertson's coming back from a hip injury, and I know he subbed on the last game. If he starts, are we sure that Tsimikas doesn't come on at 60? And then also if Tsimikas starts, who says that Robertson doesn't come on at the half or come on at 60 also? So that if Trent, you don't have to worry about, but the other side, typically we like playing both Liverpool fullbacks, especially on a slate where we really don't have to pay up for some ridiculous goal scorer or anything. But they're priced for 90, really. They're not, I mean, I don't want to play Robertson or Tsimikas, whoever starts, then only get 60 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I think, there's at least a 50% chance that whoever starts comes off by 70 minutes. So, you can push back, but I mean, the first thing I look for is if the other one's on the bench. I mean, if one of them weren't on the bench, for example, then I just love whoever started at left back. But yeah, that's a big concern for me.
I still think you go in. I don't know. I wouldn't put too much into thinking Robertson's going to be subbed off. You mentioned the hip injury, but Robertson actually went 90 minutes. I think it was last weekend. They played against Wolves, maybe Sunday, Monday, or something like that. They played against Wolves. Robertson went 90. TAA was the one subbed off. Robertson's healthy, so that's just kind of what I wanted to say.
Yeah, and he's been doing better than TAA for the most part. I mean, I get it.
Yeah. So for cash games, Salah 8,800. I guess he's out of the question here for cash games, but I mean he's still solid, and he still has best odds to score on the slate. It appears Nunez may not be ready to start. We'll see what happens with that. If he can't go, it could be Salah. Who am I? Could be Salah, Gakpo, and the other three-name player that is escaping my name. Oxlade-Chamberlain is 5,500. He is forward eligible, but not for cash games. So what's the first look, Jordan, for cash games? Would you go, is Pascal Gross 8,500? Or are we just not considering him anymore? Or Morgan Gibbs-White at 8,200? Or someone else?
I like the guy in the middle, the best out of the three that you didn't mention.
Bowen?
Bowen at 8,300. I can't play Gross if he's playing in this like defensive midfield role.
What if he's at right back? Same.
Even then, it almost feels like he's the type of guy in those positions. Like in a favorable matchup, that's fine. Okay, I'm not. This is not the worst matchup, Liverpool. But I mean, if they're the biggest underdog on the slate, why am I paying 8,500 for one of the bigger underdogs in a forward spot when I have other people on a slate where we're looking and go, no one has a floor? Maybe then I could consider, but like then I take a look at Bowen and Gibbs-White. I don't mind both, but I think they're both efficiently priced. I don't think you're not getting a discount on either. I prefer the fact that Gibbs-White is at home versus Leicester. True, but I also like the fact that Bowen pretty much plays 90 all the time, right? He'll split set pieces. I mean, Gibbs-White isn't going to take every set piece for Nottingham Forest either. So, like, if I could, I'd like to play them both. But I'm not sure if that's the construction that we're going for. It also depends on Leicester's lineup. And the guy that's underneath all of that, then we get into the mid-range. We'll start talking about all these people. I think people may go to like Daniel Podence, and I don't think that's correct at 6,700 with him split. Wolves set pieces are all over the place. And Podence typically doesn't play 90. So, like, I'm not going to pay 6,700 for that. But we have Ayoze Perez questionable. And with Madison out the past two games, you know, Ayoze's been taking most of the set pieces. At 6,600, I think that's pretty nice.
All right. Well, this is going to be midfield. But for Leicester, I guess we can talk about this a little bit. We could get Tielemans, Perez, and Mark Albrighton starting. Would you still think about Perez if Albrighton's starting? Because that would
play them both. Play them both. Why not play them both? Albrighton's 4,400, so you play them both. We'll talk about that in midfield. But to fill a forward spot at 6,600, if you can't fit in Bowen and Gibbs-White, I mean, just going down to Ayoze, I have no problem. Ayoze has a floor, right? As long as he's healthy, he'll play. I think that's fine. I think it's competitively priced at 6,600. Yeah. If Albrighton isn't in, yeah, then of course upgrades Ayoze. And of course you got Tielemans hanging around there, but I'm not sure if you play him in a midfield spot unless both of them are out. I don't mind Ayoze. I mean, there aren't that many kind of like high floor options at forward, because we could talk about some cheaper guys that have like good goal scoring odds for their price. I would look to get two of these guys in between Bowen, Gibbs-White, and Perez in that situation. I would probably look to play two of them. I think we have value at midfield for one spot. If you're not playing Robertson at defender, you're probably going way down there. Like it really comes down to that. It really comes down to construction. That's why I said in the beginning, the cash construction, there are multiple ways to go. And I think it really depends on how these lineups come out, because, you know, 6,600 for Perez with set pieces. I mean, I almost prefer over Gibbs-White, over Bowen, just from a price consideration standpoint.
Yeah, go ahead.
we can disagree a little bit for once. I
Oh,
think.
we disagree. So many episodes. You're like, I agree with everything that you said, and let's move
Yeah,
on.
we can disagree a little bit. I think Gibbs White's the first forward in my cash lineup, like pretty much no question. I was surprised midweek. He took every set over Scarpa, despite Scarpa being left-footed and a supposed set-piece specialist from Brazil. So that was pretty notable. Who knows if that's going to happen again, but yeah, I feel pretty confident with Gibbs White at home against Leicester. Second forward, the Albrighton news I think is pretty big because I don't think Ayoze took much of anything with Albrighton in there. I mean, maybe none. I'd have to check on that, but which was a little bit surprising, at least because when Albrighton subbed on a couple games ago, Ayoze still took a few. But if Albrighton started, yeah, Ayoze would be nothing more than just an acceptable piece, I guess, but maybe not. Maybe a bad play if Albrighton started, to be honest. I don't know. Second forward is tough. I'd like to get to Bowen, but I don't know if you can.
Yeah, for the Leicester match, they played at Newcastle in a cup recently. 4 corners, Albrighton took all 4. I mean, this all could have been maybe on the right side or something or whatever. So maybe there still could have been a split. We don't know. But, yeah, that just goes off of Ryan's point there of Albrighton. It seems like he's going to be – when he's playing, he's on sets, even though, he's a little past his prime here. But yeah, as Jordan said, there's a lot of cheap forwards here that you can play, and it's pick your poison here, pick whatever you want to do. There's sub 6K, there's sub 5K. I mean, you got Heechan here at 3,900 at home as a forward. I mean, not a great option, but if you want to spend down, there's a lot of guys to go to. Jordan, do you have any favorites?
I mean, I think the obvious one is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I mean, he's plus 175 to score, which is like barely less than Salah and Nunez. I mean, Salah and Nunez are like twice the price of him. Calvert-Lewin has no floor. Understand that. You're playing the Everton Chris Wood. That's who you're playing. Okay? But for 4,700, personally, I'm more inclined to play Everton players than anyone else on this slate. I think Everton stacks are good against Sal. I think that game may be good as a stack. So, yeah, if I'm going to punt it forward, I mean, yeah, maybe a slightly higher floor is like Edozie if he starts at 5,400. But now these guys are getting up in price, like Thiago at 5,600, Anthony Gordon at 5,700. Like, technically they have a higher floor, but their ceilings are much lower. So if I'm going to pay all the way down, I think 4,700 Calvert-Lewin, you just plug him in, and that's your cheap forward, and he's either going to get you 1 point or 13, or you pull a Cavani and get 11.
Yeah, now we agree. Calvert-Lewin for me, and he could get you 4 or 5 points too. Just to throw that in there. Also, I like this matchup as well. Same as Jordan, I think you can stack this game in tournaments.
Ryan, what do you think about Southampton's win against Manchester City? Nothing?
Absolutely loved it. No, I think a lot about it. The goals were awesome in that game. Gineppo's goal was awesome. I mean, they created more chances than that too. City had no shots on target. I know that they played like sort of a B-ish team. But yeah, no shots on target. I mean, that was an inspired performance by Southampton, and this Everton team are terrible. Wouldn't shock me if Southampton come in here and win again. Wouldn't shock me if there's goals from Everton either, because it's not like Southampton's any good, but you got to think they have momentum after that.
Sounds like we're going a lot of ways here with Southampton. We just don't know. We just don't know what
you don't know because it's just one game against City. But they were good. But also they've been just really bad for like most all of the season. So it could go either way. Same with Everton, they've been really bad too. Both these teams have been two of the most disappointing teams in the league. So there's a lot of uncertainty.
Speaking about Everton here, so we have a couple guys. If you don't want to go down to to Calvert-Lewin or around the 5K range, whatever, get a goal dependent forward. What if we get either if it's Anthony Gordon and Amari Gray or McNeil and Amari Gray? How would either of you feel with as your second forward a McNeil for 6K or a Gordon for 5,700?
I think they're fine. They're fine. They're there. I don't think either plays 90, so I mean that's the consideration.
Yeah, that's the consideration for me as well. It's just the minute. It's like a minutes thing. Like McNeil he's never out there. I mean, 58 minutes, 56 minutes, 75, 71. I just don't do that. Not for 6K. In tournaments, sure, but
Yeah. Does McNeil, because it seems like McNeil at least splits set pieces.
yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe
Gordon
I'm writing it off
doesn't.
too much. Maybe I'm writing McNeil off too much.
Well,
I guess
I was
don't
going to
know,
ask
but
if McNeil starting, does that take away anything from Gray at 8,400 as we get into midfield?
yeah, it
here?
takes away. Yeah, it does a little tiny bit, just a little tiny bit.
Jordan doesn't
Like-
agree.
No, I
No,
agree
like-
a little tiny bit, but not enough
Okay.
But the context of this slate with the pricing, I think you can play Damari Gray no problem at 8,400. So, like, does the fact
Yeah.
that McNeil's there matter that much? To me, it doesn't.
Well, are
it's
we?
it's probably like 2 or 3 corners. Maybe a shot assisted or two, so a couple floor points. So it's something, but not that significant.
So Jordan, are you looking to play both Gray and Ward-Prowse?
You can.
Okay.
You can. I mean, you can, but you'll have to sacrifice Gibbs White to do so, right? I mean, it really comes down to that. What type of construction? If you're playing like a Dinky Do, then you could play Ward-Prowse and Gray. But I'm not even sure if the Dinky Do it's viable, but I don't think it's optimal. I think I'm much more likely to play some 8K forward Calvert-Lewin or Iosi, depending on the Albrighton situation. Because we're going to have the mid, I think my utility spot will be a midfielder on this slate. I think there's more opportunity cost at midfield than there is at any other position. So I'm looking to, prioritize where the positions are scarce more so. So no, I don't see that's why like these McNeils, these Gordons, like these types of guys in this mid-range, if Ox starts at 5,500, Thiago, it's Edozie, like it's not cheap. I'd rather Calvert-Lewin for that price and save a little bit of money, and you could squeeze in some guys at all the other positions well enough that you don't have to like really punt anywhere.
So you like Gray over Ward-Prowse?
Yes, I'm gonna take the favored guy over the underdog guy all the time. I think so.
Even if McNeil starts, you still like Gray more than Ward-Prowse?
Yeah, I think from an open play perspective, Gray actually has more value from open play than James Ward-Prowse does. Ward-Prowse ceiling typically comes from like just a hell of a lot of corners and free kicks, and obviously his penalties, right? That always helps. But I think Damari Gray gets fouled more, gets more shots assisted, is much more versed in getting. He could get to 10 points without taking a single set piece, and JWP I don't think really can. And Everton are as almost just under as big of a favorite as Liverpool is over Brighton. So why do I want to play the team with the lowest implied team total? His set piece taking monopoly player at 8,900 over Damari Gray. At least that's how in a vacuum, just from a conceptual standpoint. Like if I just take away the names or anything, it's like give me the home favorite guy over the give me the home favorite guy that actually plays as a frontline player than the kind of like centralized guy that relies much more heavily, even though he has a monopoly of set pieces. Like Southampton should get less than that, but as we said before, both these teams are bad, right? We don't know. Southampton is one off with the Man City. Who knows? But if you just went by betting lines, which is going to be efficient over the long run, I'll take the favorite player over the home favorite over the away dog guy.
Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with everything.
Okay.
And also, what seals it is that Damari Gray took and made the last penalty kick for Everton. So
Was Calvert-Lewin on the field?
that's a good question. He might not have been.
You play
So
both of them.
maybe.
You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. You
Anyways,
play Gray and DCL and penalty city, and you start doing a dance.
That's easy. Okay.
yeah. But no, like, and Ward-Prowse is more expensive too. So I'm with Jordan. Ward-Prowse is obviously he's the best of these type of guys. He's the best of the central defensive mids. I mean, obviously monopoly of sets, and he makes a bunch of free kicks, and obviously has penalties. It's weird. I wouldn't have always put Gray ahead of him, but yeah, in this spot at home, attacking and cheaper.
So if we can't get to both Gray and JWP, we scroll down the list in the midfield. There are some options in this mid-range, maybe more GPP, like the guys like Mitoma, Harvey Barnes, Solly March, 6,900, still kind of expensive maybe against Liverpool. Tielemans probably not at 6,500. If Albrighton's on there, like that means he's probably not going to get any set pieces.
All these mid-range guys are overpriced. Like all of
Yeah.
them.
So who's the secondary midfielder here that we're looking at?
I think
Albrighton if he starts?
Who?
Albrighton if he starts?
Oh yeah, I think Albrighton for sure. 4,400. Okay. I don't. Dude. Albrighton is priced as if he doesn't have any set pieces, and at 4,400, even without set pieces, I think he's not that bad of a play. Oh, he does one thing. He goes to the byline and he crosses the ball. I mean, like he just that's what he does. And maybe he doesn't play 90, maybe he plays 70. Like you could tell me he takes no set pieces, and I still think he gets you 6-7 points at 4,400. So like you tell me that he's gonna. You tell me there's some set pieces, and then you tell me maybe he'll be a monopoly set piece taker. Like he's the first guy in my lineup easily. And then you look in his other range. I mean, like this mid range, it feels like you're paying 2K more for like an extra point floor or an extra point or two ceiling. I like the Wolves guys, and truthfully, this may be off brand. I like Mateus Nunes over João Moutinho. I think Nunes, I mean, these Wolves guys are, everyone's splitting. Like the dude, like it seems like 5 guys take corner kicks for them. Nunes does take some. I think Nunes has more upside as far as scoring a goal than Moutinho. But if you told me that you were going to play Moutinho at 4,500, I don't think that's awful also. And I think if he wanted to go even all the way down to the bottom, I'm not opposed. I'm not even sure you're going to need to do this. I'm not opposed to playing Jordan Henderson at 3,200 because, I mean, I think he has games where he has 6 to 8 points. I mean, if they have possession or whatever. So, like, if you need it, I'm not sure you do. But some of these Southampton guys, maybe you could throw in at 4K. As long as you're paying, like, around 4K for these guys, that's fine. And I like these guys more than the 4K defenders. So if I'm going to, if I'm only playing one of Gray or Ward-Prowse, I'm probably playing 2 of these people down here. I'm probably playing, even Ruben Neves at 5,100, a little overpriced. Hey, if you are playing like Gibbs White and you're not playing Calvert-Lewin for 4,700 in utility, I don't even mind playing Calvert-Lewin over these guys. Like then play Dominic Calvert-Lewin with the ceiling at 4,700 if you don't want to take a shot on these Wolves guys. But I think if Albrighton's in, I play him regardless of who else is in the lineup. Because he only has upside at 40. Who cares about the set piece situation? If he has none, I think he's a good play. And if he has more than that, it's just like this guy should be 7K.
Yeah, I think, I agree pretty much with all that. If Albrighton starts, you just got to play him. And then I think it's just really easy to play Gray and Ward-Prowse. Looking at that lineup right now. If that's the case.
Well, hold on. Can you play Gray, Ward-Prowse, Gibbs White, and TAA?
Yeah, easily. And the best second defender on the slate. You just have to go below Calvert-Lewin, which I would be okay with. You can play
so you can't play Calvert-Lewin at second forward in the line.
No, you can't play Calvert. Oh, yeah, you can. If you play a defender that's 4K or below, then you can play Calvert-Lewin. It's really, yeah, you like
Yeah, I guess I know. I see what you're talking. I think I see what you're talking about.
You can play. Yeah, like if you play that lineup, you have 4,200 left for a defender and keeper. 4,200 average for a defender
Right.
and
So you
keeper.
could play like you could play like Sanchez and the 4K defender. Or like
Or a
Mikolenko
3K,
or
yeah, right. Or even
right, or something.
whoever defender pay. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. We'll get to defender. I like one of the defenders so I would be fine playing like a Sekou Mara in cash if I needed to.
I will say, just in terms of Leicester, Jordan mentioned, maybe not 90 for Albrighton, but there's a reason these guys are actually options to start, Perez and Albrighton, because they have no one else. Leicester are not a deep team. You can see their injury list here. It's pretty deep. And I mean, they're a thin team, so I wouldn't even worry about playing time with any of those guys. If for some reason that came into your thought process there. So, but I will say, I mean, you mentioned the Wolves midfielders. I'd rather focus on a different team rather than Wolves against West Ham. I mean, I don't care
It's
too
a
much.
price thing. It's a price. It's not the team thing. It's just a price thing.
Well, I mean, like I almost prefer Ryan Yates above like a Nunez or Matinho. Like I don't really care about like two set pieces for those guys. I just like the matchup better.
You're all in on Nottingham Forest.
I am.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at Leicester's team. Like they're starting Perez and Albrighton, and I don't know. They have no bench.
I think I think 90 minutes of Nunez would actually be pretty good. I wouldn't play Moutinho though. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I don't mind those Forest guys either.
Yeah, I mean, as Jordan was saying, you could go down to, I don't know about Henderson, but you could still.
Yeah, I don't know about Henderson, but yeah, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, you can still go down if it's a must. If you don't want this secret second defender that Ryan's gonna.
Man, I sold it
tout to
too much.
everyone.
It's not a secret. It's a guy we've been touting already for it seems like weeks now.
Well, it can't be KWP. It's cheaper than KWP.
No. I mean, it's KWP. Let's just cut to the chase.
Oh,
If he's on the wing again,
I thought you said cheaper than 4K. It's KWP.
no. If you want to play Calvert-Lewin, you have to go.
Right. If you play Mara, you get the 400, so you can get up to KWP.
Yeah. So this is probably like a hot take from me a little bit because I don't think people would prioritize a guy like Kyle Walker-Peters on away to Everton. Even I guess you can even say he's slightly priced up now because he's been under 4K this whole time. But like playing on the wing in 90 minutes, he's a really good point per dollar play. He just had 15 or 14 against City. He was really good last week. We played him in cash, 9.7? I mean, he got most of that in the first half too. Yeah, anyways, I like him.
Before we move on, I think we got to mention Gineppo here. You called him out at the beginning of the show. He's only 3,400 against Everton. I mean, he's just another one of these cheap midfielders that I mean, I think he has more upside than all these other guys, really. So,
yeah, upside for sure.
Hey, yeah. I said I don't mind the cheap Southampton guys. They all have a bunch. It depends on who starts and what the prices are and how they fit in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for defender, is it plug in TAA and KWP, or do you have other ideas here, Jordan?
I think for cash, if you're punting past KWP, I mean, just play wherever you want down there. Whatever. I mean, I don't think that play a center back even. Go all the way down to the bottom. Click on the lowest price green check mark and fine. But in GPP, I some of these defenders pairing up with forwards, like I think I'm going to be playing a lot. I mean, I'm playing 6 lineups. I'm playing a cash lineup and 5 GPP lineups, so it's not like I can have a ton. But I like the pairing of Serge Aurier with Brennan Johnson because you get leverage over Gibbs White lineups, who are going to be popular. And I mean, Aurier I mean, Aurier has the ability to put up 15, 20 points. I mean, he gets forward, he takes shots.
Why do you like Nottingham Forest so much?
I don't mind. I never said I don't mind. I prefer from a pricing standpoint the Everton Southampton game. But like I don't mind, but like it seems like those are the two games that I'm building lineups from. It seems like I'm building GPP lineups that are like Gray, Calvert-Lewin, Jay Adams, right? Like a goal scorer from Southampton, maybe a Gineppo. You have 4 guys from there, and then maybe I don't even play TAA in that lineup, right? Or maybe I just plug him in and he's always in my line. He's always in one slot in the lineup. And then Aurier, Brennan Johnson. Then you have Albrighton in that lineup also, because on the other side of the Leicester side of the ball, Daka or Ayoze or Barnes or something. It seems like those are the 2 games I'm attacking the most, rather than the Liverpool-Brighton game, rather than the Wolves-West Ham game, because West Ham is just like some of these guys are. Benrahma's 9,400 and like come on. I mean, like what's going on here? I'm not a big fan of the Wolves guys are a little priced up. The goal scorer, maybe Jimenez isn't, but he's probably not going to play 90. So it seems like I'm playing most of the players from Nottingham Forest, Leicester, Everton, Southampton. But I think, will people pay 5,700 for Aurier or 5,100 for Lodi? Like if they're already playing TAA and they're already playing like Gray or Ward-Prowse, it's very hard to get up to these guys.
I gotta say, that's one of my favorite calls ever from Jordan. I never expected to hear either one of those guys, actually. I don't think people will play. That's a great combination, I think. I mean, the Brennan Johnson-Aurier combo, just those 2 players in general. I'm a fan of Brennan Johnson. I think he's going to have a very good career. And Aurier, he's been much better than I expected from a DFS perspective as well. Yeah, just good call on 2 guys that I don't think people are going to play on this slate.
I looked at those 2 guys kind of first when I was putting together a lineup, but
are you just sighing because you didn't want to agree with me?
Maybe he disagrees. Maybe everyone's thinking of those guys.
Okay, hold on.
That's what I'm trying to think here.
If Adam can't agree with me, I guess you're playing Joe Worrell for the center back role or something. I know it's going to be like I have to be contrarian to that. So I'm going to play Gibbs, White, Worrell or something, and then screw me all the time.
No, my question will be: if you don't want to play TAA and you want to move up from DCL at forward, so it's like a 2v2. You can go down from TAA to play one of the Nottingham Forest guys, and then move up your forward to someone else. Would you consider that, or you're glued into TAA and a goal dependent forward kind of a thing?
Well, for cash games?
Yeah, for cash games.
For cash game, TAA is locked in. I mean, there's no way I remove him from my cash game. He's 7K. Get out of here. I mean, what are you, stupid? I mean, like that's why I said even in my GPP lineups, he may be like glued into those as well. So it's like what I mean, I could play. The thing is that defender on the slate, a lot of people will be playing TAA, but maybe not playing a high price defender. And there's so much more value in getting a second defender that may score 15 or 20 because you like beat out on so many other lineups. I learned that from Ryan, right? Because so many people may be playing these 3K guys that get 4 points. You get so much more of an advantage. And then you pair his ceiling up with someone else on his team that he gives an assist to. And it makes the most sense to pair a winger wide defender with the center forward. So like, I think Brennan Johnson is going to come in at fairly low ownership, not like ridiculously low, but maybe 10, 12% or something. Aurier probably only come in at 10, 12%. And if they both hook up, Gibbs White maybe 35 plus 40% owned. And it's like when that combination scores, it's also negatively correlated to Gibbs White. Hell, I could play all 3 of them also in some lineups. I mean, like you could do that as well. So like I'm just looking from those perspectives, especially in lineups where you show me if they run out no Ayoze and Albrighton's in there, like I may have Albrighton stuck in most of my lineups also. So it's like, well, when we've learned from the past, we've played DFS for a long time with Mark Albrighton. Said what we love the most when we roster Mark Albrighton is for their opponent to score early. Because when their opponent scores early, It's to the byline for Albrighton and 700 crosses.
Wait, Adam, were you saying no Liverpool defenders?
Yeah, that was the basis of the question. Like Jordan, I know TAA. I know TAA, but this matchup, it's just not as good as. I don't know. I just don't think like this is like a smash spot here for TA where he's going to get 15 floor points.
No, I don't either. But like, you'd still probably play him if it was a matchup against Arsenal or Chelsea or Tottenham
At 7K.
right? I mean, in cash games. No.
Yeah, in cash games you plug him in 7K.
Yeah,
What are you,
you
can make make the argument with GPPs. I'm perfectly fine with that.
That's what I mean.
You can fade a 12-point TAA game in GPPs, no problem. Okay, I get it. That's fine. But in cash games, just take a goal's worth of points on average and just move on.
Yeah, and like Adam, I know I like Brighton like you do, but I still, it's not like they're going to dominate Liverpool. You'd still expect Liverpool to be on top, no? We didn't really talk about that game. That's going to be an interesting game to see.
Why are Liverpool going to be on top?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Maybe they're not.
It doesn't matter if they're favored. These odds are.
The odds are the most efficient thing, That's what I mean.
How did you play the Chelsea?
Long run.
How did you play the Chelsea Fulham slate? Because it's the same situation.
I don't remember any slate that's ever happened before today. It's all in the past.
But I mean, you can't.
It's on average, Adam. It's on average. It has nothing to do with tomorrow's slate. It's on average.
Adam, that Chelsea Fulham game. I know what you're saying, but didn't Leno have like 8 saves in the first 25 minutes or something? And didn't João Felix get a red card?
Yeah, but were all those saves from?
And they snuck by 2-1.
Yeah, but they won.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I see what you're saying. Okay, so this Liverpool Brighton match. I mean, how do you think it's going to go then?
I think there's going to be goals.
I do too, but you'd want TAA, right, in a back and forth game?
I mean, do you?
I think so.
Yeah.
What kind of question is that? Of course you do.
If Brighton score, so
you're still deciding between TAA and Robertson, though. We've seen plenty of times where Robertson has 20 plus points and TAA is sitting here with 8, and it's like, oh, I should have just
give me the 8 points. It's cash games, Adam. Give me the 8 points. I'm fine with it. Fine.
I mean, and then you're getting 2 points from a punt forward, though.
Well, I know. Calvert-Lewin is. I mean, that's what am I? So I can pay $2K more for an extra point?
If you like TAA so much, why don't you just use TAA and Robertson?
You can in some line. You could, but you have to. Now you can't play Gray and JWP together.
Wouldn't you rather play both of those guys so you're not screwed when one of them gets 24?
No, I don't think of those terms. Screwed. What's screwed? Just in case the other guy does.
No, I don't think that that doesn't really happen. First of all, TAA will be the one that people play. I don't really see anyone playing Robertson over TAA. At least not in cash
games. We're talking about cash. GPP. This is an actual valid conversation. In cash games, what are we wasting our time on? You plug in a 7K TAA is the biggest favorite. Yeah, they're not huge favorites, but they're favorites. Take your points and move on.
I know. I get the sentiment. Though, Adam. A lot of times in tournaments, especially recently, I found myself playing too much TAA. But yeah, in cash games, 7K. I mean, you just play them.
Goalkeeper, play whoever you want.
Definitely.
Don't play Alisson.
I actually think Alisson is probably the worst play on the slate, but at goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Because it makes no sense if you just take a look at the odds. Dude, this is how screwed up this slate is. That Liverpool is the biggest favorite, yet Brighton has the second highest implied goal total. Right? 1.46, which is just a little bit higher than Everton, who is favored by almost as much as Liverpool over Southampton. So, to play Alisson Allison has a 43% win chance, but only a 23% clean sheet. It's like the third lowest clean sheet chance on the slate, and he's 5,200. So, like, to me, you're playing anyone. I mean, truthfully, I think you're playing anyone else.
Does that,
other than Allison. And when I say that, I'm going to get a tweet when Allison saves 6 shots and has a clean sheet, right? And then people are going to go like, yeah, I think Pickford is better than Allison at the top range. But truthfully, outside of, I think you could play. I mean, dude, you could play any of these guys. I think I lean more. Pickford has a slightly higher clean sheet chances and a better win chances, on the slate. So if I have 5,100, I'll play him. But outside of that, like, I don't mind. This is not a situation where I don't want to play Sanchez, right? They're at home. They're the cheapest home goalkeeper. And I think this game is much more competitive. I think this is much more even than the team names would say. And I could see Liverpool shooting a lot and Sanchez getting a bunch of saves. And even if he gives up a goal, he may still end up with 6-8 points.
Yeah, I agree pretty much. I think I would, if I could, I would want Wolves or West Ham, the Wolves or West Ham keeper. But I also like Sanchez. I think those are. Adam's probably going to say Forest. I think the Forest keeper would be fine too. I agree with that though. I agree with that. The Forest keeper. I mean, I could never. I just can't. Just on principle, I'm not paying 5,100 for Pickford. I'm just not doing that to myself ever. But I mean, it makes sense. They have the highest clean sheet odds. But play whoever you want,
Adam, are you going to play Scarpa at his price? Seriously?
In tournaments?
Yeah, obviously.
I might.
Right, I forgot the way that you play because you have to play Robertson with TAA. If you're going to bet on Nottingham Forest, why not play 7 guys from that team? Just play 7. You have to play 6. Play Yates, Aurier, Lodi, Henderson, Gibbs-White, Johnson. You just plug them all together. And then, Mangala scores or Froller scores, and then you throw your computer out the window.
Well, I don't think Scarpa will be popular because no one knows who he is. I think he's not going to be
popular. He's like 7,900. That's why he's not going to be popular.
Yeah,
you can play Scarpa in tournaments. 7,900, you can get there.
Yeah,
I don't think it's like crazy egregious. I mean,
I will say like Gibbs-White has dealt with a calf issue for like a month now, and there's always a chance, he gets subbed off early, and then you got Scarpa racking up set pieces and whatnot. I mean, that's another boost.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I mean, just to add, we've seen one game with Scarpa and Gibbs-White. I mean, just going into that match, I think pretty much everyone
it was assumed to split.
would have said if someone takes a monopoly, it'd probably be Scarpa. I mean, I don't, it's not going to shock me if he takes some left-footed sets. But besides that, he's got a lot of goal assist equity, at least from where I saw him playing, basically as almost a center forward at times.
Yeah. I was going to say for goalkeeper, the tournaments, it seems like Allison is the tournament move because no one's going to play him.
Related to that, from a GPP perspective, this is a weird question. The biggest favorite on the slate, outside of the fullbacks, is it quite possible that Gakpo and Salah and Nunez, if he starts, or if he doesn't start, like these guys actually go under? Like, does it end up that a $9,500 Gakpo is sitting there at 8%, and Salah is sitting there at like 17% or something? When like we're used to slates where Liverpool's a big favorite and they're like all 30+%, 40% in GPP. Is this the slate where maybe playing Liverpool is the leverage?
Man, I hope not. I think about the same thing. I was thinking about that same thing right before this podcast started, just that it's going to come on here and not talk about these Liverpool guys. And what if no one else plays these Liverpool guys and they're sitting in the game with the highest total? Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that same thing. Like,
you think that's possible?
I think obviously people that listen to this, good players, like I mean, I always, Ivan Toney at 7 million is still 20% owned. So like, I know there's plenty of recreational people that are playing. So like,
You'd
I
figure
have
people
to think. I have to think the Liverpool forwards are going to be owned more than what I would reasonably expect them to be. So that's
and you
why
have
I'm
to
more
think
likely to just
Salah.
not play him. But is it a consideration that? I mean, how about Brighton? I mean, even Brighton, like, dude, I look at Ferguson and I go, who says he can't score 2 goals? Like, I'm not scared of this Liverpool backline without Van Dijk.
Do you
Like,
say he can't or can?
he can.
Okay, good.
Oh, I said it's not like he can't score 2 goals.
Right.
That means he can. I think the Brighton players are overpriced in general, right? I don't want to play 7,700 for McAllister or anything like that, right? But is there a goal from somewhere? I mean, Solly March, I think, is a little overpriced. I mean, this is the game that has a 3+ goal total. I mean, we don't see that in EPL all that often.
Yeah, we've seen Brighton in these high-scoring matches too. What was it, just 4-2 against Arsenal? Almost 4-3. They had a couple offside goals at the end. I mean, they just scored a bunch of goals in the cup. I mean, guys that I follow for tactics just absolutely are raving about De Zerbi and this Brighton team. Adam, what do you think about, what do you think about Evan Ferguson? I assume you like Ferguson. I mean, he's just going to be an absolute stud. 18 years old.
Yeah, I don't know how long ago it was, but I think his first start, I had a lineup with, I think it was March, Ferguson, and Sarmiento, and then Sarmiento wasn't given an assist off a deflection or something. I think it must have been I guess it was the Everton match, but yeah, Trossard's out, and Trossard's in a fight with De Zerbi, so he's not in. It doesn't seem like, maybe Welbeck is healthy, but Ferguson's here. He's scored in a couple matches. We didn't mention Lallana is just sitting here as an underpriced. I mean, maybe not underpriced, but he's 3,400 in the midfield. Seems like a pretty obvious tournament route. If you just want to stack that match, just go after that match. It never seems like Lallana is very popular, no matter where he's priced. And I know he's going to
go. Revenge game? Doesn't it count as a revenge game?
Yeah, revenge as well. So, I mean, maybe he's only going 60, 70 minutes, but if there's if there's 6 goals in this match, it doesn't matter.
Right. And yeah, you're right. Lallana's never owned, and he's involved in quite a bit of goals and assists, actually. He plays farther forward than the other midfielders.
All right, Jordan. So, who's your favorite play on the slate?
my favorite play on the slate? So, I mean, I'll stick with my. I will have at least one lineup with out of my 5 GPP lineups. Maybe it will be my mega qualifier lineup that has Aurier and Brennan Johnson in it.
Yeah, I like that. I'll throw out a guy that I don't think we've mentioned yet. Another one of Jordan's favorites. I think going to go under-owned. Che Adams, 5,800 away to Everton. I think that's a similar play to Brennan Johnson in a way.
Yeah, you pair him up with KWP.
Yeah.
Are you guys scarred at all from the last time that we played Che Adams? I guess it was me and Ryan did the show. They're home against Nottingham Forest. Southampton were terrible.
Yeah, I mean, and I remember, everyone's like, what are you doing playing Southampton, guys? Southampton as a favorite. This is what I mean, though. You're gambling. You're gambling a bit that maybe Southampton found something. Maybe they got a little momentum. Maybe they turned the corner a bit. I don't know. And also, you're playing the matchup. I will always target this Everton team. So, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so with that Nottingham Forest lineup, I assume are you still plugging in like Brighton and Liverpool guys, Jordan? Is that the general move?
You play TAA. I mean, you could play something like TAA plus Salah plus Lallana type of thing. You could do something like that. I mean, really, what you're doing in these types of lineups is foregoing Gray and JWP. Like you're saying, like they have floor games, and I'm gonna find the goals, right? Because in most of these lineups, you're not gonna be able to fit like a JWP or a Gray. You're playing cheaper at midfield, or you're playing cheaper forwards and mid-range midfielders. So I think it's more likely that, like, if my cash lineup has both JWP and Gray, my GPP lineups may not have any, or most have one. And if I have one, it's going to be Gray over JWP. But I'm still not convinced that I'm even playing JWP in cash. I still think maybe I'm playing Gibbs White. I'm putting in TAA, Gibbs White, and Gray, and then some mid-range stuff going around it. It really depends on what's on. I'm probably playing Albrighton, so like I already got 4 spots in my lineup full. It just comes down to, do I want to pay down for Calvert-Lewin? Do I want to go? It really depends on some stuff. But I think the GPP construction is you're building either very balanced or very barbell. I think the cash lineup is like mid of that. Like, you're kind of doing it, but not to that extent. But I think the mid lineups are like the Brendan Johnsons, the Che Adams, the Pats and Dakas, the guys like in the 6K range. And the barbell lineups are like the Salah, Gakpo, TAA type lineups, or the Bowen, you're playing Gray with a cheap forward, with a Southampton forward or something like that. I think those are the GPP style constructions that I'm probably going to be attacking, which means you may very likely not be playing Gray or JWP in any of those lineups.
Yeah, Ryan, it seems like this Brighton Liverpool match will be the most targeted in tournaments, and
makes me want to fade it.
So you want to fade it completely, or still?
No, I mean, if you're going to tell me that it's going to be just way more popular, I don't know. I sometimes I will just fade it and pray.
Okay, you wouldn't even think about like throwing in a random Lallana piece, a random
no. I think that'd be fine.
Like that?
I think that'd be fine. And sorry, when I say fade it, I would be likely to have like a Liverpool defender still.
Okay.
Especially with the money, I'm unlikely to full fade.
Yeah, you want those guaranteed TAA points, right? So,
well, especially if the game's like, yeah, I do want those TAA points if I'm going to fade that game and play cheaper options elsewhere.
Yeah, I will say about that match, like I was trying
what
to
were you
think
gonna
of,
Sorry, what were you gonna ask though? If I would use the one-off pieces, or
yeah, I was just trying to.
I mean, what are you thinking? Are you gonna play like Miedema's just been on fire?
Yeah, I was trying to think of who the least popular pieces will be, and it seems like because he's on sets, Pascal Gross is always more popular than he should be, even though if he's like a defensive midfielder or a right back, like he's always popular. Like I think he was more popular than both Mitoma and March, I want to say, against Everton.
It's been so brutal because he's been running so pure too, with a couple of those goals, especially the last one. I mean, just an absolute gift. I mean, horrible mistake by the defense. So yeah, I mean, that gross stuff has been annoying.
It's been gross.
Yeah.
He's like a right place, right time kind of guy. And
he has been lately.
Yeah, that's kind of what's been going on for him. But I mean, I think you can still get different enough if you don't want to get like the main, because how popular is Brighton?
I think so too. I think you're right.
I don't think anyone on Brighton is going to be very owned.
Right.
Me either.
There's no one that's going to stand out. They'll be owned, but not like all these guys will be in like the high single digits.
Yeah, I think the fact that Gross might be the most popular player on Brighton means that you can find plenty of routes to go where people aren't going to be going after him. So,
I was more so talking about fading Liverpool. Especially if you like Brighton. Yeah, I don't think that many people are going to play Brighton. I like Ferguson at that price. I would play him. Play these other guys too. Not Gross. I agree, not Gross.
Yeah, one mention here for Brighton. McAllister going to be back, or soon to be back in the starting 11. He's missed he's missed completely the last 3 league matches because of celebrations of the World Cup. But we got any other thoughts here?
I have to assume McAllister back on pens. At least I would assume.
Right.
I only have one more thought, and that is I mean, I'm sure you guys disagree with me wholeheartedly, but I think Benrahma is a decent GPP play at 9,400 at 4% ownership or whatever. Don't hate it.
Do you like Benrahma or Harvey Barnes more?
You mean in general? Because I always mention these two guys. Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
I don't know.
neither
Like,
one are going to be popular.
man, you've seen. I mean, Adam, you've seen a bunch of times me winning slates with Benrahma, and when no one plays him, especially in the past. So I got a little bit of a soft spot for him. Harvey Barnes too. No, Harvey Barnes is actually like a good GPP play at 6,200
Yeah, I
at
mean,
low ownership.
we've
Like
talked
Benrahma
about
is way overpriced, so it's not something that I would say is like a good play. He's the type of player that has 2-goal upside, like in matchups like this.
Jordan. You got anything else?
No, I would have wished if Brentford was on the slate, but it's not.
Oh, Brentford, Bournemouth.
Because that would have been the highest. Brentford would have had the highest goal total.
Yeah, are they at 2 against Bournemouth?
Yeah, they're the late game. Yeah,
Yeah, and then Tony would have been 50%.
no, that's right, and that'll suck up all the ownership from the people that I do want to play.
There we go. All right, rotowire.com/soccer trial, free 2-day trial. And then once you're subscribed, rotowire.com/chat to get into the Discord. But that's all we got for Saturday's 4-game slate. I think we'll be back next week. I think there's more games on Saturday, but you can find Jordan at Blender HD on Twitter. Ryan is at Ryan Belongia. I am at Zdroik. Good luck on these slates. And I think there's a $25 King of the Pinch. I think there's a $245 as well. So a couple tickets there for the taking on Saturday. So good luck to everyone. I think it was last week that Ryan got one. Jack Burkhardt got one. Sorry, I don't know if Jordan did or not. I don't think he did.
I didn't play. I don't think I played last week, or I didn't.
I don't think Jordan played.
I got my 4 still. I got my 4.
Jordan was too busy playing poker, so he did not play last week. But
yeah, let's get some more of those tickets. It's been a good run.
We're getting some tickets. Good luck to everyone. We'll see everyone next week.